Hello.
Why am I in twice?
I, I don't know.
I wonder if one of my team used my registration link and my logo. I bet you that's Daniel or Chris. I'll text him.
That might be
Okay.
me.
Oh, that's Daniel.
Yes.
Okay, that's definitely not Jeannine's voice. I asked Daniel to help us manage the chat. All right, Daniel, you want to change your name so it doesn't look like I'm more than one
Cloned?
person?
Yes.
Oh boy, we got a waiting room full of people.
That works. That works. Do you, sorry, I'm gonna go close my door. My son's on the phone with my husband. Do you want to I think if Daniel is a host, I'm a host, Kathleen's a host, I think we should be good. When Margarita comes in, we can make her a host to help with the chat. And I think Chris might be here too to help with the chat. I figure the more the merrier with like 80 people.
Yep. So let's see. Co-host for Jeannine, Daniel, my co-host. Kathleen is on. I'm waiting for her to test her audio.
Hey guys.
That's right. Hey, it's working.
All right.
There you go.
All right, I'm stepping away for just a minute.
So I think when it's going to get crazy because there's going to be a lot of people in here. So I guess if we're not, like, I know I'm not debating on whether or not to tell people to turn off their video cameras or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
you mean in case it kicks people out or whatever, gives us issues?
Yeah. I mean, if bandwidth becomes a challenge or whatever. So we'll be fine. Let me. I'll go.
Will you guys be able to tell when Henry enters, or?
I think Daniel, can you do us a favor?
Sure.
Can you watch? Because if Mitch, once we're going, people will still try to get in. So
right.
Daniel,
do you want me to handle the waiting room?
Yeah, if you can.
Are you able? Can you see all the folks that are waiting?
Yep, there are currently 9 people waiting. I can admit them all.
Okay.
No, don't admit them. Don't admit them yet. We'll wait till we get closer.
But when you see Henry Mack or Chancellor Mack or Dr. Mack, however he signs in, can you? I think if you text me, I can let Mitch and Kathleen know because I have a group text with them, or I can just add you onto our group text to let us. Actually, I'll just do that. I'll add Daniel onto our group text, and let us know because he's popping in a little later than expected. So it would help us to know when he gets here.
Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Perfect. We should play some song about making money. All right, Mitch, Kathleen, and Daniel. Please text when.
Oh shoot. Okay, good thing we did this.
What happened?
Swap this place. How's that look?
Perfect.
Looks great.
You wanted to get rid of the preview from the following slide?
Yeah, I just had to.
Because it's sharing. Yeah. No, that looks good.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to do that because that way I had to flip-flop my screens. There's participants, 13.
This works. It looks good on the screen.
Good.
And Daniel, thank you for taking care of that stuff. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let me see if Margarita's in.
Oh, I don't see her yet.
Not yet? Okay. Yeah, I don't either. Okay.
So Kathleen, do you want to do a quick intro or do you want us to kind of take it off the bat?
I am happy to do a quick intro.
Okay.
That works.
If you will just signal, and then I will unmute, and then I will pass it back to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
we should be recording. It shows, it shows recording for you guys.
It does.
Yeah, in the cloud. You're good.
All
Yeah,
right.
Kathleen, if you can just get us started whenever I guess we determine that that's a good time, and then we can just flip to the next slide that where we introduce ourselves.
Sounds good.
I'm glad your sound is working. I've had some issues with Zoom over the past 24 hours as well. All right, we're at 18:15 waiting. Not bad.
Yeah, there was more registrants after I even sent out that. I think we had 88 on that list I sent you, and then there was like, I went and just looked when I was signing in, and it was like 103.
Oh God. All right.
So I'll send final lists. I think
Yeah.
everybody will get a link to the recording once it's done. There's Margarita.
Shan.
Yeah, I just added her.
guys.
Oh, and then hey,
Ju-
Margarita.
Just a quick good luck. Knock them dead. You both are going to be awesome.
Thank you.
You're a co-host. So Daniel and Margarita, if you are going through and you see, you're hearing people with background noise or whatever,
We will mute them.
please feel free to mute them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want us to throw digital rose petals at you too?
I mean, I prefer like lilies, or tulips, but I'll take roses.
Chocolate, perhaps?
Dark, please.
You're my kind of chocolate eater, Jeannine. Oh.
I'm good. Margarita, this is Daniel, by the way. Daniel, this is Margarita. She
Hi,
works
Daniel.
for Uncharted.
Hello,
And,
Margarita. How are you?
Daniel
Good,
works on my
good.
team.
Awesome.
He's a pro at managing chat rooms and waiting rooms and all that.
Except
good
today I
stuff.
don't have to do any talking, so this is even easier.
Yeah, normally he's like the MC, so.
That's hard to do, as well as pay attention, listen, think ahead, and untie your tongue.
Some people just have it, they have that voice, they have that ability to that's Daniel's gift for sure.
Way to go, Daniel. You're multi-talented.
I know I'm jealous for sure.
Well, I can't sing, so there is that.
Okay, well, we know where the mute button is on that one. Oh, boy, guys. All right.
Well, I'll say this has been a long time getting ready to roll, so it's pretty exciting, guys.
No.
34
kidding.
people in the waiting room.
Yeah, that's good.
More to come. Yeah. I was trying to see if Chris had joined yet, Daniel. Because he was going to try to help you guys too, so it wouldn't get overwhelming with all these participants.
Hey, Kathleen, when you're kind of doing the intro, if you could remind everyone that this is actually a meeting, and so remind them to keep their video off and keep themselves muted. That would be super helpful, and that'll kind of maybe alleviate some of the challenges.
I will do.
Mitch and Jeannine, do you want Daniel and I to also, I mean, of course they'll be muted, but also not have our video so that you guys have got.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be good. That way we kind of keep it focused
cleaner.
on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they can turn it on, Mitch, on the Q&A when they have like a collection of questions that they've gotten from the chat box. They can turn it on so that they look like humans and then turn it back off, if that makes sense. So they know who's talking. And then we can open it up if, anybody has any other questions.
Gotcha.
Does that work?
Sure.
Just remember, Daniel, I don't think I told you this, any questions RFP related, meaning like technical components of the RFP, we're going to let the DOE take those.
Handle those.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We don't need to get into any trouble.
It'll be Kathleen, I believe this one's for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
There you are.
All right, we are spot on 1 o'clock. Should we give it a minute? We're 1:01. Are we ready?
I'm going off video. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
I'm just going to
Thanks.
admit it may take a minute or two for everybody to show up.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Kathleen, go ahead, and I think everyone is in. We will keep an eye on the waiting room, and let's get rolling.
Well, thank you, Mitch. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today. 2 weeks ago, the Department of Education was pleased to announce the release of our first ever 2021 request for proposal for what we're calling the Advancing Career and Technical Education through Entrepreneurship Education and Training Grant Program. That's a mouthful. We call it EET for short. And this signals an investment of $1 million of our Perkins set aside. This grant aims to scale innovative practices to entrepreneurship education and training for our career and technical education students in Florida. We imagine that this RFP is an opportunity for school districts, technical colleges, and state colleges to forge new partnerships and relationships with industry and other stakeholders. Today, we are excited to be kicking off the first in the series of webinars on the topic of EET. Our partners at FACTE, NFTE, and Uncharted Learning have teamed up to develop this excellent series. A reminder that all trainings are open to faculty, staff, and DOE friends and partners. Just a little bit of housekeeping. This is actually going to be a meeting, so we ask that for now you mute yourselves on your end and turn off your videos until after the formal presentation. Later, we hope you'll hear from Chancellor Henry Mack, but for now, it's my pleasure to turn it over to our colleagues at Uncharted Learning, Mitch Coulter, and NFTE's Jeannine Schloss. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Kathleen. And I think I speak for both Jeannine and myself and our organizations by saying thank you to all of you, for taking some time today to join us in a time that may be a bit challenging, and thinking about taking a breather, I suppose, giving it a chance to think a little bit about the future, and kind of what we can do, to support our students when our world and hopefully soon gets back to a relatively normal state, or somewhat close to it at least. So my name is Mitch Coulter. I'm from Uncharted Learning, and I have been part of the team here at Uncharted for a little over 2 years. I've been in education for my entire career and learned a lot about kind of what makes programs successful, and in particular over the past couple of years, really seeing what successful entrepreneurship programs look like, and really looking forward to sharing that with you today.
Thanks, Mitch. My name is Jeannine Schloss, and I am from NFTE, that stands for the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. To reiterate what Mitch said, 2020 has been one of those years, if anything, that has put CTE and the importance of workforce readiness and the work that all of you do in the forefront. So we are thrilled to be here today. As a former Florida educator and now working for NFTE for the past 5 years, I've seen the importance that CTE does play in the lives of students from all communities and backgrounds. And so we hope today to set the stage for you on what can be some successful entrepreneurial programming within your local district that can have an even bigger impact on the youth that you serve.
All right, that being said, we are going to go ahead and kick this off with a poll. So I'm going to launch a poll. If there's a couple questions here, kind of getting to know you guys a little bit more, sharing where you're from, and where you are in the secondary or post-secondary world.
If
we'll
you
give
can
that a
take
couple
just
minutes.
if you can take just a few minutes to answer, it'll give us an idea of who's present today.
Love watching that data flow in.
And it's looking like we have some nice representation from all over the
Yeah, I
map.
love it. Even kind of across the board, I like that.
And we're glad to see both our secondary and our post-secondary partners here, because the work that you guys do together really helps formulate what youth can do now and in the future.
Looks like I was annotating the screen there. I don't know what I was doing. Someone is.
There is an annotate feature, yes. All right.
All right, very cool. 63% of you have voted. Gives a little bit of a, let's see, anybody else want to chime in? All right, we'll go ahead and end that poll. Oh, let me see if I can move this. Shoot. Where's my polling?
Does that work?
The poll. There we go.
All right. All right. So on our agenda today, we are going to talk about a few different topics. This is being recorded, and we will be sharing out this deck for you to use in the future. First, we're going to set the importance of entrepreneurship and why
Right,
entrepreneurship.
just reloading this because that I think those annotations may go away. There we go. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. You were testing my memory, so we're good. Then we're going to follow up with what the pillars of successful entrepreneurship infused CTE programs look like and how you can infuse it within any CTE program that exists within your district. We're going to talk about the different levels of RFP funding that were defined at the Bidders Conference and go into a few examples of what that might look like. And then, as you know, this is a webinar series. So Mitch and I are going to talk to you about what's next and what's to come, so you know which webinars would be best fitted for you. We will have some question and answers times to stop throughout the presentation to allow you to participate and get things answered as you go. We will encourage you to use the chat box as well. We do have some wonderful people from both our teams that are there collecting the questions, and we will supply the answers as we go. So thanks again for being here. Let's get going. So why entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is a skill that is extremely desirable by employers of the future. Mitch and I like to say that we don't create just necessarily entrepreneurs, but we create entrepreneurs. Youth that can enter the workforce and know how to brand themselves, know what their value is and what their value is worth, and understand how to maneuver the space of being a team player, of taking risks, of being able to be creative and innovative, and really being able to propel themselves. The workforce of now definitely does not look like the workforce of the past. You know, my grandmother was a teacher for 30 years and retired and stayed in teaching her entire profession. And moving from profession to profession didn't always look that great. When you look at people's resumes now, you see that they're maneuvering their space and really propelling themselves to do better and to bring those skill sets to companies. And that's what entrepreneurship can do. So the future of work is entrepreneurial, and oftentimes as a former math teacher, numbers stick out at me. So hopefully these stick out at you as well. 90% of employers identify entrepreneurial skills as very important. 65% of the jobs that children entering school today don't exist. So essentially, my son, my daughter, Mitch's kids, they will do jobs that haven't even been defined as of yet. Due to the tech advances in the world, jobs are ever changing. And so it's important that our students and our youth can enter it into entrepreneurially and understand how to maneuver that space. 1 in 3 US employers actually want to hire people with entrepreneurial experience. That's what gives them a leg up. That's what helps them to stick out when they're in an interview. Not the way they look, not what they say, but the skill set and the mindset that they possess. And when we look at the future, the workforce will be freelancers, will be individuals that are working for themselves and consulting and doing various things that make them happy and that enable them to excel.
So not only that, and not only kind of those job skills that we're looking at, but what our world needs, and kind of giving students this entrepreneurship experience is often unlike anything that they've experienced in the past. And so why are we doing this in order to really push our economy and our future forward? You know, by the year 2030, so thinking of all of these kids, of Jeannine's kids, my kids, of all of these students that we have in our classrooms today, by the year 2030, there will be 60 million new employees in the workforce. That's incredible. And you know, one of the things that we think about, and when we look at where are those folks going to find jobs, where are those kids going to find jobs, 1/5 or 20% of those new jobs are going to be accounted for by new businesses that are started. And so there's a little bit of math there, and it's amazing to think about that. But we think about and kind of looking at across the spectrum of all of those new businesses that are being created. Who are they? Who's creating those? And it's interesting when you look at the data across the past 20 years. About 20 years ago, 34% of these new businesses were started by entrepreneurs, right? But the new entrepreneurship numbers have decreased since then. And so we're seeing a decline in the number of entrepreneurs entering into that field. So this really puts forward and really shows how critical it is that we're preparing these students and these kids with the entrepreneurial mindset and the capabilities to continue to grow that workforce. So we have another poll. Let's see. Jeannine, you want to tee this one up?
Yeah, absolutely. As Mitch is putting, as Mitch is putting this on the screen, we kind of want to see where you guys are right now. You know, it's important for us as we're framing this conversation and conversations in the future to see what you're currently doing within the entrepreneurial landscape, if anything at all, and what that looks like. So
there we go.
There we go.
Did that come out?
It did. So there are two questions that Mitch has put up on the screen. You know, are you currently running an entrepreneurship program? And if you are, what does it look like? Is it a standalone program where entrepreneurship is infused 100% of the time? Is it infused within a CTE pathway, or are you not doing any of that types of programming? All right, we're nearing the 50% mark.
Yeah.
And again,
50-50.
This feedback is super important, especially as we're tailoring and carving out some ideas for all of you to be able to implement to success. All right, so it looks like a 50-50 split on question number 1. Yeah, you're right.
Very cool.
Okay, and it looks like based upon this, those that are, it's 50-50 on standalone versus CTE. So that's also very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, back to our presentation.
So what are the entrepreneurial pillars of success in the work that we do? So Mitch and I have kind of come together, and there are common themes that we see that make successful entrepreneurial programs. The common theme behind all of these is that providing students with experiences, no matter their age, drives their inquiry. And when you drive inquiry, you develop an authenticity and an interest in the work that's being done. First and foremost is entrepreneurial mindset development. This development is not only key for students, but also very important to develop in teachers, giving them the opportunity to think differently about who they are and stretch themselves in many contexts to address real needs and solve real world problems. By imposing and getting entrepreneurial mindset skill growth within students and within teachers, we have research that indicates that they will be more successful now and in the future, specifically related to their workforce. Entrepreneurial mindset development are things like risk-taking and innovation and collaboration and creativity, you know, all those things that we love to see and talk about, but oftentimes get hampered within school today. So being able to look at and not only develop a specific skill set within kids, but developing a mindset where they can maneuver the space and really thrive is key. And it's also key to develop that within your teachers as well. The second is PBL content. So essentially, project-based learning content is experiential, it's engaging, it's authentic, it's research-based. It allows students to demonstrate their knowledge, not just on a diagnostic or a summative test, but through performance assessments and through tasks that enable them to speak to the work that they do. At the end of the day, I always say that the student is the artifact, right? They're able to produce and see. They might have the credentials and the resume and the business plans to add to that, but they themselves are that artifact. And what good PBL learning looks like, it supports and drives entrepreneurial thinking because it enables students to work at their own pace. It enables students to really drive their own learning, and it becomes more meaningful to them. The final is a stakeholder connectedness. So creating volunteer experiences, bringing in professional learning for teachers to support them in the exercise and delivery of entrepreneurship. Many teachers are teachers, and they may not have had the business experience or the experience of running a small business. Some teachers that support entrepreneurship within their classrooms have their own business. So it's important to bring a variety of experiences to teachers so they are able to understand what they are asking their students to go through. Bringing in career pathway development, network and skills application, advisory boards that can help support, and workforce readiness, career source, and local economic transformation boards to be able to bring experiences to life based upon the curriculum that students are living in the classroom. And oftentimes those are the people that can get students hooked and really provide them with an experience that enables them to tie academics with the work of CTE.
Awesome. So Jeannine, in sharing those those three key pillars of what does this look like, and what are the makeup of that entrepreneurship program, we've kind of started, we know that your wheels are turning, and we know that you've been starting to think about what this program or what your application may look like, and how it's, how you're working to really support your community as well as your students. And so there are really three key goals to kind of keep in mind as you're putting those together. What is the experiential content and resources that we're integrating into this proposal? How are we engaging with the community as part of that? And how are we supporting our teachers in their development and their ongoing learning around entrepreneurship? So these come in a variety of different packages and different ways of implementing. With the experiential content, courses that can be delivered via the CTE pathways or as capstone courses for your CTE pathways. There are co-curricular options for after school programs that are available, incorporating boot camps as well as pitch competitions, and how critical that final goal in mind for some of these students is as they're working through this experience. And then really standing up, the potential to really stand up a full experience, an accelerator and incubator experience where students are, driving an idea or problem from a concept all the way through to launch. So what is that, how is that content going to look for your application? Two, how are you going to start to build and connect with your community? And really we see, kind of that common goal is really building an ecosystem within your community of those local volunteers that are there to really directly support your students, and understand and support them in that process that they're experiencing. Helping them to provide mentorship opportunities and coaching opportunities through instruction. Really important to engage with that community. And then finally, how are we supporting our teachers? Whether that's modules or training for preparing them how to teach entrepreneurship, giving them that experience of what entrepreneurship is really like. A lot of the teachers that we see in entrepreneurship have been entrepreneurs at one point or another in their career, and sharing that experience with one another through building a teacher community can be really critical to that process. So that being said, we are still awaiting the arrival of one Dr. Henry Mack, but we wanted to take a few minutes here as we're kind of talking about some of these things to see if there are any key questions that have come up from the group. So what do we have out there? You can feel free to type those into the chat box, or you can raise your hand and share that.
Mitch and Jeannine, we do have one question from the audience asking, do you have to have been a teacher that was an entrepreneur in order to teach an entrepreneurship class? Absolutely not.
One of the things I think I speak for both of us is that the experience of being an entrepreneur is great, but the opportunity to really provide the training is something that we both are supportive of, making sure that we've got all those tools to support you guys as you're learning what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Jeannine, other comments there?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It's amazing, the skill sets and the mindsets that teachers bring together. And in the teacher community that Mitch was referencing, what makes an optimal teacher community is a combination of all of the above, because teachers will come with different abilities and capacities and bring that to the team as a whole. What's important about teacher training is that it is deliberate, that it is authentic, and that you're giving the teachers an experience as if they were giving it to their students. So really being able to ensure that teachers are having an experience like students within their classroom so they can accurately and effectively teach.
Great. We have another question from the audience, and this is a two-part question. I think one, perhaps Jeannine and Mitch, you can address, and the other one, perhaps someone from the Department of Ed should address. So let's take the first part of what are the lengths for these programs. We'll throw that to Mitch and Jeannine, and then perhaps the Department of Ed. The second part of the question is, what are the program codes?
Both good questions. Mitch, I'll take this one and then hand it over to you, and then maybe we can ask Kathleen to come on. So links for programs can look and feel differently depending on the impact level that you are defining. If you are specifically talking about a program that's integrated with students, those programs can look anywhere from 20 hours to full courses of 180 hours. They can be integrated within the school day, or as Mitch referenced, they can be implemented in an after-school program as well. So the cool part about entrepreneurship is that you can design, and they can look and feel, be adaptable, and pivot just as entrepreneurs can do. Mitch, anything to add?
That was perfect, Jeannine. I really want to kind of applaud that. I think really depending on what your goals are as a district or as a school, there's solutions that can meet all of those needs. You know, whether that's a full 2-year experience for students, or an experience that is embedded as short as a semester or even shorter. Those are all possibilities out there. And that's kind of, you know, that's one of the ways that we're here to help you guys vet those out. So Kathleen, yeah.
Yeah, I'll weigh in here also from the department perspective on the question, where are the program codes and links for these programs? So, you know, of course we do have some long-standing established frameworks that are actually called entrepreneurship. But as we shared at the workshop that we hosted last week, this RFP is really more signaling a interdisciplinary approach to entrepreneurship, and one that can be easily incorporated across all clusters. So want to just think a little bit more broadly. So any framework that we have is certainly open for incorporation of EET, in addition to those long-standing frameworks that we have that are entitled entrepreneurship.
And if you dig deeply into some of the courses and work with your teachers, even engineering courses have product design and implementation within them. So entrepreneurship aligns directly to that. So entrepreneurship can come and align alongside any of your CTE pathways.
And in reality, like, the interesting component is when those pathways are starting to, the students within those pathways can mix and can share ideas, and really that melding and the melting pot of student ideas can create some amazing things. And
for sure. For sure. So we'll encourage you guys to think entrepreneurially on what's going to be a best fit for you and for your students and teachers.
So many creative ways of bringing this together, and I think that's one of the things that that folks are going to be looking for as they're looking at these applications. So.
And Jeannine and Mitch, we have another great, interesting question. And the question is, what if the program or framework that a school or school district is interested in is infusing with existing classes? Could they plan and prepare this school year to begin next school year so that their planning and preparation could offer a seamless experience to students?
I can go ahead and start, Jeannine. I think absolutely. I think that as we're, at the beginning, I kind of alluded that, you know, this is an opportunity for you guys to take a step back and a breath from maybe what you guys are doing day in and day out, really focusing on and imagining, you know, kind of what can happen in the future. And so, and looking towards a launch of a program or of a you know, an integrated plan for the fall of kind of 21, 22. And so what that affords you, and I think how the grant was really designed was that the timing of this, the deliverable on who's receiving awards and things of that nature, gives you the timing to then think about and work towards that successful implementation for those next few months, right? You've got time to really work through that process. So absolutely, yes, I think this is thinking out a little bit into the future.
So keep in mind too that the opportunity for this RFP also allows for some exploratory things to happen, so that, you know, and Kathleen will speak to this, but entrepreneurship isn't going away in the state of Florida. So this is an initiative that will continue to be supported. And this is the first go. So think through and utilize opportunities, even for an exploratory measure, to deem and figure out what's a best first step, if it is indeed a first step for you, your teachers, and your students. And there are a ton of people on this webinar. And so we'll encourage you also to reach out to other districts that do work and do this type of work, to share some ideas across district lines to see how you can implement even better. Kathleen, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything, and specifically it looks like Pamela has a question about the 6/30/21 grant disposition date.
Well said, colleagues, in relation to the other questions that were asked. This grant is, all obligations do have to be encumbered by June 30th. So to what Mitch and Jeannine shared earlier, you may be in the process of doing some planning, some exploration, and move into, in which case you'll encumber expenses to do that, and then move towards full implementation the following academic year.
Any other, we are going to have another opportunity for question and answer at the end, but is there anything else before we move ahead? Don't be shy.
All right. Well, we were hoping, and we still may, have a visit from Chancellor Mack at some point. So he has not yet been able to join us yet, but we'll keep an eye out for him in the waiting room. But moving on.
Okay, so how are the different impact levels defined? Essentially, impact in this case is going to drive your funding. Mitch and I will go into a little bit of detail today, and then we will address a deeper level of detail at a later webinar series. So essentially, a medium impact definition means that your funding can be up to $25,000. A medium high impact means your funding can be up to $50,000, and a high impact means that your funding can be up to $100,000. Each of these are defined, so we're going to talk about some key metrics that are held within each to kind of keep your eye on and allow you to determine what your next step will be with regard to this specific RFP. Key components in the medium impact is at least one EET activity. It can be a planning or exploratory initiative, as we addressed earlier in some of the questions, and a potential pilot opportunity. So you might have an idea that you want to test out or try. This is the time to be able to do it, and the opportunity to be able to do it before you do a full-scale launch. And being able to have this opportunity is great, because as much planning as you can do, things are bound to go wrong. And so it's a great opportunity for you to figure out what that can look like in the spring, so that you can get set ahead for what the fall will bring. Some ideas that Mitch and I developed to come out with this were rolling out a teacher training and support initiatives right now. So getting your teachers up and running, giving them some experiences in developing their own mindset in terms of career readiness, allowing them to experience some of the grit that students will when they're in their entrepreneurial programs, developing curricular options for entrepreneurial implementation in a pathway. So pick one or two strong pathways that you have and think through what that can look like in a pilot modality. Or connect students and teachers to local college, career workforce, and startup opportunities. So this is a great way to work that connection between the 6 through 12 and post-secondary pathway to bring exposure and opportunities to teachers and students that might not necessarily have them.
Medium high impact.
Yep.
So a medium high impact kind of program really looks at integrating at least two of those EET activities. So this kind of increases or ups the level of funding from 25 to 50. We're increasing the number of students that are going to be participating in it. We're exposing more with the hopes of increasing the number of students that are really embracing that entrepreneurial mindset in those capacities. We may, also within their focus on the integration of entrepreneurship through teaching and learning. So what are some ideas for you to consider as you're thinking about this medium to high impact level? You may choose to implement an entrepreneurship experience across multiple CTE pathways. Those may be fitting into different academies within your district as well. Create an opportunity for interdisciplinary collaboration. So thinking of going across subject areas, right? So incorporating multiple subject areas into that. Connecting them directly with their local college, career workforce, and startup opportunities, and then integrating entrepreneurship as a foundation for a capstone course. So really blending the experience for students across multiple CTE pathways.
And finally, high impact. So high impact needs to consider at least 3 activities. Keep in mind that the activities listed within the RFP are suggestions and samples. We will encourage you, and we will also give you some ideas at later webinars about how to think outside the box of even different ones that might be applicable to your student population. Have a collaborative partner effort. Think through maybe crossing district lines and forming a consortium of sorts to work together. This involves a very high number of students and teachers and must really have evidence that demonstrates an increased level of knowledge and impact across the work that's being done. This is a great way to do a secondary, post-secondary pathway opportunity and really connecting the dots between what students do from 6 through 12 all the way outside into that 6 through 16 type of pathway. Collaborating across district boundaries or creating a series of initiatives that culminates in some sort of a big stakeholder event that brings together the work that you're doing. When Mitch and I talk about entrepreneurship, we see CTE as the application of academic skills. We see entrepreneurship as the lens through which you can do that. So putting application into social studies and economics and math and English and writing, when students can actually develop a mission statement for their business or a value proposition, doing the market research behind it, it's similar to the work that they do on a research paper in an English language arts class. So think of entrepreneurship as a way to connect dots, not only within your classrooms and in your schools, but across your districts and across the 6 through 16 collective.
All right. So we have one final poll for you guys. And so, in thinking about these various levels of the medium, high, and all these potential opportunities, where are you feeling that you may land? Where are you looking most readily? This is only a 1-question poll as opposed to the multiple questions that we put together.
And Mitch, while everyone is taking the poll, there's a question that appeared that perhaps Kathleen can address. How many students would be considered high number of students? I believe this question is related to the different impact levels of the grant.
Yeah.
Sure, that is, Margarita, that is actually identified in the RFP itself, and I'll put a link in the chat to the RFP, but just reading from the high impact grant, a high impact project also requires that a high number of students and or faculty, 50 plus, will not just be exposed to EET initiative, but evidence increased capabilities and demonstrate potential for a future as a small business owner, or for faculty, demonstrate the ability to effectively teach entrepreneurship.
Awesome. And
Perfect.
Mitch, I think I see that Chancellor
We've got
Mack
about-
may have joined us.
Yes, you see correctly.
All right. So we will go ahead and end that poll. And
It's about
see if I
split
can-
with some exploration in there.
let's see if we can get back. Chancellor Mack.
Oh my gosh, this is like way too formal. So I appreciate this slide and didn't mean to interrupt the flow of things, but just wanted to 30 seconds from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for coming on the call today. Very happy that the department is working with these two phenomenal entrepreneurship education and training providers. I just think this is leagues ahead of where other states are in terms of thinking about how we're scaling entrepreneurship across the state in our career and technical education program. So just fundamentally wanted to thank you for that, and to thank everyone for joining the call today. And please help spread the word. We're really looking to make large scale impact in terms of helping our students and faculty, incidentally, understand the power of entrepreneurship education and the ability of students to become self-employed, or if they don't go down that route as a business owner. Again, the most important thing is here, the competencies associated with entrepreneurship and how really we can think about our CTE curriculum in a new light. It adds value to their education for them to become entrepreneurs or pivoters or value creators within the company or industry that they may end up in. Bottom line, hands down, valuable all around. And so on behalf of Commissioner Richard Corcoran, the governor too, and everyone here at the Florida Department of Education, just super excited. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll shut up. I'll let you get back to doing what you're doing. Good to see everyone. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Jeannie. Good to see you. And looking forward to what's to come.
Your timing was impeccable.
Okay,
absolutely perfect.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
It was,
Appreciate
it was. And I love that picture personally. So I'm a little jealous I don't have one that's that good. So I'll work on that.
I'll send you the name of the company that did it.
I appreciate that. All right.
And I just wanted to share that Marsan Carr from FACTE is also joined.
Awesome. Marcian, would you like to take a second to speak, to take the mic? She might be happy staying in the background. All right.
She's reluctant.
That's all
I'm actually
good.
going to I'm going to type in into the chat the
link.
web address for everyone to go ahead and sign up for other webinars.
Right.
But go ahead, Jeannine.
Yeah, so while Mitch is doing that, we do have other webinars. There is one on Thursday that mimics this one, so no need to come twice. However, starting next week, we do have a series of webinars that are specific to the different impact levels of programming, where Mitch and I will go through some deep examples that will hopefully spearhead your thinking and spur that entrepreneurial mindset so that you can develop some programming that works for you. We also have dedicated question and answer sessions. Those are strictly designed for you to come and open-ended for you to ask us questions as experts in the field on what you're doing, what you're thinking, and how we can help, or what we might recommend, or whether we think that would be successful, or what have you. So those are designed solely for you to come and work with us. And we do have also some within the post-secondary and secondary pathways, along with best practices in the RFP writing. So we will encourage you to sign up for any and all that you feel are relative to the work that you want to do. We welcome you to join us and to have your colleagues join us as well if you feel like it would benefit you to have a team present at these. And we are eager to answer any and all questions that you have. All right.
All right.
Do you want me to type that one in the chat box?
Sure.
It's a little easier. I took the easier one.
So, thinking about any wrap-up questions, this is a time for you guys to ask any questions, but we do want to make sure that you know that the FAQ documents, anything that's coming, that we're recording here, that's coming up from you guys, we're going to be posting those into this location. That'll be available through the duration. If you remember, we've got till November 2nd, so those will be up and posted, as well as these recordings will be available for you guys to review. So any technical RFP related questions, any entrepreneurship programmatic questions and any of that stuff that you guys are curious about, those will all be available on the website. So any other questions today?
And by the way, if you didn't see it in the chat box, Kathleen Taylor has encouraged you. If you do have technical questions about the RFP, that is not Mitch nor my wheelhouse. So please make sure you contact Erica Bush at the DOE no later than October 15th with those questions. Any questions that are asked will be made public and available to you on the FAQ site.
All right.
So are you getting into another segment, or do you still have time for some questions right now, or were we about to end the?
No, we are going to stick around to answer as many questions as possible.
No, so forgive me then if you already covered this, but between you and Mitch, and feel free to tag team or answer independently. I'm just curious about, I guess maybe like knowing the disruption that COVID has caused, knowing the technological disruption that has obviously come as a result of COVID, and we knew that it was coming because we know what trends are sort of indicating to us about the future of work and the nature of the future of work and what life in the 21st century for my 5-year-old daughter who's just starting kindergarten, what kinds of competencies and things she's going to learn in order to be successful. Why, in your mind, does entrepreneurship education do it? I mean, that's my assumption, and that's why we're investing so much into this. I guess I'm maybe looking for a little bit more self-affirmation, maybe about why we've decided to go down this route of entrepreneurship education, and why entrepreneurship education maybe is part of the answer for preparing students from all levels, grade levels, to deal with the new world of work. There was a question somewhere in there.
I think we got it. Mitch, you want to start? I'll
Sure.
wrap up. We've been tag teaming stuff, so.
Yeah, so add in whenever. But I think, Henry, you bring up a great question. The disruptions that we've seen, the challenges that our teachers and that have been facing day in and day out. Why is entrepreneurship the pathway for this, and why is entrepreneurship an opportunity? I think really what it looks like is as students are experiencing entrepreneurship and they're identifying a problem, they're identifying a potential solution, and they're going out and having to do the research, whether it's online or whether it's going out into the world and talking to people and practicing their public speaking skills, practicing all of these different abilities that we think about. What does it take to be able to do that? Those are not just soft skills, confidence, self-confidence, to be able to talk to a stranger on the street, to ask them a question about their business that they're starting up. But they need that data. They need to understand if the problem that they've identified is really a problem or not. And so, building that confidence, practicing those different skills, those are the things that employers are looking for. In addition to that, the hard skills, the understanding of what is a financial model, right? And what is a sales strategy? What is a marketing strategy? All of these, entrepreneurship is really the culmination of so many different types of skills into one package. And for students to have an opportunity to learn in this way, to drive their own learning in this kind of authentic manner, to learn from volunteers and others in the world. I think this is really bringing all those things, all those skills together.
Yeah. Do you have any articles or research papers that actually has done quantitative or mixed method or qualitative studies on the likelihood of students persisting at higher rates because they engaged in an entrepreneurship like sort of education or treatment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we both do studies not only during the programmatic piece itself, but also as alumni, what happened to them in the future. And something that is clear, and a clear piece of data that has come out of all the research that we do, is that students that have an entrepreneurial experience actually make 50% more than their peers in the same job role. It is amazing to how they are able to maneuver that space. And I'll tell you, like anecdotally, I know Mitch and I both have stories, but what I say entrepreneurship does is it gets the kid in the back of the classroom who has their head down to raise their hand and to pay attention and to start learning, because they see the ability for them to make something of themselves and for them to do something and to make money and to bring their family and themselves out of the hardships that they might be facing due to COVID. You know, so many of our students, I always say, worry about survival. They're focused on where they're going to get their next meal and often depend on going to school to be able to get and see that. What entrepreneurship does is it enables them to look more at their future and to make active choices and to recognize that opportunity is out there for them that formerly they didn't even know existed. I like to say it opens them up, gets them outside of their bubble, beyond just the streets of their community that they know so well. And the best stories come from parents who tell us, and tell us both, that they wish they had this type of opportunity when they were younger. And you know, we get stories all the time that bring tears to my eyes. But when I have like a parent of a special needs student call me and tell me that this type of programming made a difference in the self-confidence, as Mitch stated, of her young son, and how now he is going to go out and build a business and nothing is going to stop him, and he has ideas that are going to change the world, and that she's never seen such engagement from him before. This is what makes the work we do so real. And this is what ties together academics and the world of work together to give kids true, authentic learning experiences and applications of the work that you do. And when kids are engaged, teachers are engaged. And when teachers are engaged, schools perform better. So enabling them to really see the fruits of their labor and have these experiences they go through is so key to not only their specific future, but to, as I stated at the beginning, transforming our communities and making them better places to live.
Yeah, 100%. You can draw the connections, even if you're not talking about entrepreneurship directly. We know that the more knowledge is applied, and the more knowledge is applied, the more they are engaged, and the more they are engaged, the more they are likely to persist and complete, which is what we know sort of matters, not for just the student's sake, but also too, let's be honest too, in an age of performance-based funding and the pressure that the school systems and tech colleges are on, or under rather, and the state colleges too. You know, we're looking for innovative ways to help scale persistence and completion rates. And I would submit that this is an excellent way to do it. And thankfully, the state has committed resources to making it happen. So for everyone on the call, I would love a challenge. If you can get one or two other colleagues to join you for the next round of webinars or the next meeting, I want to get the word out as much as possible across the state. The commissioner, thankfully, is drafting an email to the superintendents and to the college presidents about these series of webinars. He stands behind it. The governor stands behind it. We're standing behind it. And we're looking to, again, double down on this as we move forward. This is just the beginning. And so I want to, again, thank the partnership with Uncharted and NFTE for helping us out here. I've done enough talking, so I want to make sure that there's, I guess, time for some other questions or other comments from those here.
Yeah, I see Margarita and Daniel have been kind of taking care of that chat box.
The chat was firing up. I love it. Very good.
We appreciate your help, guys. Please, if there are any questions, we are welcome to stay around. As Chancellor Mack indicated, there will be additional webinars and additional opportunities as you guys are considering opportunities that Mitch and I will be pleased to help you with. And, you know, on behalf of both of our organizations, thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Mack. Thank you, Kathleen, for your team and for this opportunity to be a part of such a special initiative. You know, it is a really unique place for us to be and really sets Florida apart. So we're excited.
Absolutely. All right.
It's a little quiet.
Well, thank you all.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Everyone have a good rest of the day. And if you want to join us, we'll be doing this again on Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. your invitation there, you guys can sign up, but send it along to others. So
Yeah, and please send any colleagues or teammates. We'd look forward to seeing you there.
all right.
I'm loving the Bitmojis, by the way. I need to learn how to develop one of those myself. Maybe that'll be
Nice.
my new picture instead of the professional one.
All right, thank you all.
Margarita, Daniel, did you guys see what we topped out at in terms of attendance today?
Yes, so our high was 76.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Kathleen, I know there's obviously some people that signed up that probably didn't get to make it today. Is that something where your team will send out an email to them, just letting them know that we'll have this again on Thursday in case they didn't make it? Or is that something Mitch and I should address?
Well, can you push it out on your end because you have the registration list?
Okay.
Do you have that
Yeah.
ability? Okay.
Yeah.
Of course. And then I think everyone that had registered for this session will also receive a link to the recording, so that they will have the ability to watch that later on.
Oh, so they'll get it even if they missed it.
Yep.
Ah, perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Marsanne's still on. Marsanne, how are you?
Oh, we can't hear her.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Ooh. You're at a distance. It almost sounds like you're in a little bit of a tunnel, but I think we can hear you. If I like.
Fine, that you got down the first one out done today.
Well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
opportunity.
thanks.
We're excited, and we were happy to see 76 people in attendance. So it's a good start.
It certainly is. I will
We-
see you again on the one on the 1st.
Sounds like a plan. If at that point you would like an opportunity to speak, we're happy to open up the mic to you. So just
Okay.
let us know. Okay.
I will, and I have a meeting with the secondary directors tomorrow at 11, so I'll also remind them about this. Those that
Great.
have not registered yet, or if they've
Yes.
registered and forgotten about it.
Marsanne, whatever you've done to your audio, you are coming in loud and clear now.
Oh, well, great. I don't know what that problem was for a moment. I don't have my mic, my big snowball mic.
Your headphones?
Today, but
Oh.
that's good.
I know. I didn't wear these. Like I figured I should not look like I'm about to rap. So that would be ugly and just terrible for all of us. So
Jeannine, can you promise
Yes.
to do that at the very last webinar? Just as a celebration?
So my husband makes fun of me because I used to teach calculus. And so in order for the kids to remember some of the rules, like they're
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous, I used to make up little like songs that were corny and stupid and ridiculous, but I could see the kids chanting them while they were taking their test. So I know they worked. But like some of them would be like beatboxing, like rapping and stuff like that. And he has yet to this day to get me to do it. He keeps asking me because he heard stories from like my former students. So yeah, maybe I'll pull out
Jeannine,
some really
we're
ugly
gonna be
beatboxing.
we're gonna be looking for that order of operations rap. at the end of this.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll see
And
what
Mitch,
I can do. No
Mitch, you'll
pressure.
match with a science something or other, right?
Yeah, I've got plenty of those. Like most of the time, it was jokes.
Physics.
I had to create jokes so that the kids would remember mitosis and meiosis.
Oh, and God, meiosis and all that. Oh gosh.
And physics is fun. There you go.
All right.
All right.
All right,
I think we're
guys.
good. Do you want to empty it, Mitch? You want to empty it out?
Yeah, I'll
So
stop the
people aren't
recording.
just sitting in here.